Okay, this video is going to show you how to set up a form, a Google form, to work with Autocrat. Okay, so hopefully you've already created your template. I am not in love with mine, but that is what it is. The thing that you want to be aware of when you are making your form is that all of the tags on your template, so like where it says student name, title, etc., all of those should have an answer in the form or have a question associated with them in the form. So when I look at my form, if I remember how to work my computer, I'm having the form collect email addresses because I'm going to email out their finished book review to them, have them put in their name, so that'll be what matches up with the student name. Title and author are the next two tags. They don't necessarily have to be in order, but it helps me if I keep them in order. So what's the title of the book? Who's the author? What letter grade would you give this book? And as I'm looking here, I'm realizing that I forgot to put in a letter grade one. So I'm just going to put in a new text box and see if I can get it over here. I'm going to do 2 angle brackets. And I want it to look much bigger than that because it's just going to be a letter, or maybe a letter and a plus or minus, right? So, oh no, that did not work the way I wanted it to. I'm going to make this be bigger. I looked and you can't make it be word art. It won't recognize the tag if it's word art. So that's not super fun, but we'll still make it pretty somehow. And I'm not exactly sure how this is going to turn out because I haven't tested this part yet. So we'll figure it out together. It'll be good. And let's make it bold too. Okay, so hopefully that'll show up right in there. If not, we can adjust it. Not a big deal. Okay, so then finishing up checking to make sure all my tags are in there. What's something you loved about this book? And then that'll be where I talk about the best part. That'll be populated in there where it says favorite. If a friend asked you about the book, what would you tell them? And I'm going to match that up with this friend tag so it appears in that box there. I had a hard time. I couldn't tell whether this was going to be really readable. I wanted to make sure there was enough contrast there. So what I did was I had it highlight behind it. So I used black text and then white for the highlighting color. And when it auto-populates that, it'll put it in with that highlighting on it. So whatever the style is that you have it set up on the template, that's how it'll look when it sends it out. Like I said, this is not a very visually pleasing one to me. The fonts aren't particularly accessible, but that's how you set it up. The thing that you need to do next, though, is you need to go over to the responses tab, and even if there haven't been responses, you're going to click on this little Google Sheets icon here, the spreadsheets, and that will show you your form in Sheets. This is where you're actually going to run Autocrat from. Every Google form can be set up as a sheet, and so as it gets responses on the forms, it will start populating them on the Google Sheet. And so you can see the answers to the question here. I've already run Autocrat on this, so it's got the Autocrat columns at the end. But that is how you can set it up. You don't necessarily have to have a sheet for a template. I just did in this example. You could just as easily have a Google Doc for a template and tie it to a form. And I'll show an example of that later. But that's how you get it set up. And I think our next video is going to be actually running Autocrat finally. So stay tuned.